powerful praise, Poilievre and Smith boldly defend independent media at Stampede reception. At the Calgary Stampede, the atmosphere was electric as federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith stepped up to recognize the powerful rise of independent media. Their praise was not just casual remarks, it was a bold endorsement of platforms like Juno News that have reshaped Canada's media landscape in a remarkably short period. Juno News, co-founded by Cian Bexy, has grown to become Canada's most prominent independent outlet in just 4.5 months, capturing the attention of audiences seeking alternatives to traditional, taxpayer-funded news sources. This moment at the Stampede was emblematic of a larger shift in how Canadians consume news and the ongoing battle for influence between legacy media and new digital voices. Pierre Poilievre, with characteristic wit, made light of his absence at the CBC's competing event, joking that his invitation must have gotten lost in the mail. His remarks went beyond humor. They underscored the growing dissatisfaction with mainstream media outlets perceived to be too closely aligned with government narratives. Poilievre praised Juno News' rapid growth, emphasizing that unlike the CBC, Juno News operates without any government funding, a risk that has clearly paid off because it offers Canadians an independent voice. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith echoed this praise, expressing optimism for the future of Canadian politics with Poilievre's return to Parliament, signaling a time when more genuine debate and action can take place. The rise of independent media is not just a fringe phenomenon but a seismic shift that is transforming Canada's information ecosystem. Traditional newspapers, which once weathered previous disruptions such as radio and television, now struggle to keep up with the pace and demands of the digital age. Subscriptions have plummeted, and newsroom staff have shrunk dramatically. Against this backdrop, digital-first outlets like Juno News and True North have thrived by embracing podcasts, videos, and social media, adapting swiftly to the preferences of modern audiences. Born in the internet era, these outlets are agile, able to respond faster and connect directly with viewers hungry for perspectives outside the government's narrative. While the surge of independent media has invigorated the news landscape, it also raises important questions about accuracy and responsibility. Concerns about misinformation and fake news persist. Yet, many Canadians are becoming increasingly savvy at discerning credible sources from unreliable ones, a skill vital in a fragmented media environment. The growing appetite for independent outlets is partly fueled by frustration with traditional media's perceived biases and a desire for more direct, unfiltered reporting that challenges official stories. At the same time, Canada's political and economic situation remains fraught with uncertainty. Mark Carney, who replaced Justin Trudeau as Liberal leader and became Prime Minister earlier this year, has inherited a challenging fiscal environment. Despite the urgency, Carney's government has yet to present a federal budget, a move that has startled observers given that budgets were tabled even during crises like the Great Depression and World War II. This delay has intensified scrutiny over the Liberals' spending plans and growing deficits. A new report from the C.D. Howe Institute paints a stark picture of Canada's fiscal future under Carney's leadership. It estimates that the federal government could accumulate nearly $350 billion in deficits over the next 4 years, with annual shortfalls averaging $78 billion. The deficit for 2025 to 26 alone could soar to $92 billion. This projection far exceeds previous estimates from the government and the Parliamentary Budget Officer, raising concerns about transparency and the accuracy of official fiscal forecasts. The Liberals' promises of increased defense spending, combined with various platform initiatives and changes to revenue policies, are key drivers of this fiscal imbalance. Critics have also taken issue with the government's accounting methods, particularly its decision to separate capital and operational spending. Experts argue this division obscures the true scale of the deficit and complicates efforts to hold the government accountable. Instead of addressing core spending problems, this approach risks misleading Canadians about the severity of the debt situation. Economists have called for deep spending cuts, up to 24% of operational expenses, to rein in the deficit, which would likely necessitate layoffs and reductions in public services. Despite these warnings, Prime Minister Carney has ruled out cutting transfers to provinces, effectively limiting the government's options to tackle the mounting fiscal challenges. This refusal to make tough choices has frustrated critics, including Franco Terrazzano from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, who argues that delaying the budget undermines public trust and accountability. The government's apparent strategy appears to be one of delay and reframing, rather than confronting the realities of growing debt and unsustainable spending. In parallel to these fiscal controversies, a heated debate over judicial salaries has come to the fore. Federally appointed judges currently earn $415,000 annually, but are requesting a $60,000 raise. They argue that the pay gap between themselves and highly paid private lawyers is deterring qualified candidates from accepting judicial appointments. Chief Justice Jeffrey Morowitz and others have cited increasing vacancies and recruitment challenges as evidence of this problem. However, the federal government has pushed back hard, labeling the raised demand as unprecedented and insensitive given Canada's economic challenges. Government lawyers point out that judges already receive comprehensive compensation packages exceeding $570,000 annually when pensions and benefits are included. They argue that aligning judicial pay with the highest earners in private law firms is neither necessary nor appropriate, especially at a time when many Canadians struggle with inflation, rising housing costs, and wage stagnation. This judicial pay dispute highlights a deeper tension between public service and compensation expectations. Many commentators suggest that the role of a judge should be seen as a commitment to public service and upholding justice rather than a pursuit of top-tier private sector earnings. For most Canadians, earning $415,000 per year is an enviable salary, and increasing it by 15% risks appearing tone-deaf to broader economic hardships faced by ordinary families. The combined pressures of fiscal uncertainty, political jockeying, and social debates such as judicial pay reveal a growing disconnect between government elites and everyday Canadians. The Calgary Stampede reception, where Poilievre and Smith vocally defended independent media, symbolizes the rising voices challenging the status quo. Their support for outlets like Juno News reflects a broader demand for transparency, accountability, and an authentic public discourse that speaks directly to Canadians' concerns. As Canada moves deeper into the post-snap election period, these dynamics will continue to shape the political conversation. Carney's government faces the challenge of balancing fiscal responsibility with political promises and public expectations, while opposition leaders like Poilievre push for more aggressive reforms and greater media freedom. Independent media, emboldened by figures like Smith and Poilievre, will play a pivotal role in holding power to account and informing voters. Ultimately, the Calgary Stampede event was more than a celebration of media growth, it was a statement of intent. It highlighted the fault lines in Canadian politics and society, between government spending and economic realities, between old media and new, and between the governing elite and the people they serve. How these tensions resolve will define Canada's political and social landscape in the years ahead. The future of Canada's democracy, media, and economy is in flux, but voices like those of Poilievre and Smith show that independent platforms are ready to challenge the mainstream and champion the public's right to transparent, honest information. This bold defense of independent media is a rallying cry for Canadians eager for change and accountability in a rapidly evolving world.